Okay, welcome to this demonstration of SegMate. Now, SegMate is packed full of features, okay? It has a wide array of different features. So what I'm going to do in this demo is I'm going to just give you a brief overview of each of those features. Now, once you become a member of SegMate, we have a very rich library of more detailed tutorials that show you how to use each of the features, as well as an extensive library of help articles that are at your disposal. Okay, so let's go ahead and just jump right in here. The first thing I want to show you here is the actual, what we call our Chat Engage bot builder. Okay, now this is where you're going to build all of your bots. Now, before I jump in and kind of show you the different types of elements you can use within a bot, I just wanted to show you some of the open rates and click-through rates that we have gotten since, and this is just for one of my fan pages here, since we've started using our SegMate platform. Now, if you'll notice here, this one right here, we're going to actually jump into this beta webinar register bot right here. This is one of our very first ones, and look at what we got on this. This is an open rate of 94% and 65% click-through rate. Some of these other ones here, 88%, 62%. We've got 89, 43. So as you can see, as I kind of scroll through these, the open rates and click-through rates are just amazing in what we're getting with our bot marketing. So let's go ahead and just jump into a brand new bot, and I'm just going to show you just briefly some of the different elements that we call bot elements that you can use within when building your bots. Okay. So obviously the first one we have is just your standard text. Okay, so this is just standard text. I have some text here. And what we can do is we can attach buttons and quick replies to most of these elements, okay? And you'll know if you can connect one, if you can actually add a button to an element, because this button will display here. Now I'm going to get into buttons here right after I show you all of these first, because there's a lot of great settings that you can use to kind of track the interaction, of your customers within each of your bots. All right. So for now, we're just going to go ahead and just look at each of these elements. All right. So I have some text. Now we can also personalize with first name, last name. So we could say, welcome. Maybe that'd be better. Welcome. And then whatever the user's first name is, it would then populate here as well. Now you can do first name and last name. Okay. Now the next thing we have is you have the ability to attach an image. All right. So that's just a straight up image, and I'm going to go ahead and just pick one that I've already uploaded. And we can of course add some buttons to this element as well. All right. So everybody loves GIFs. Everyone loves, a nice image. It's very eye-catching, so it's a very, very helpful element. All right. Next thing we have is what we call cards. Now, cards are very similar to images. You can, of course, select your image here, and you're allowed to put a title and a subtitle. Right. So we have our title here and our subtitle here, okay? And as you see, it starts to type out over here as you begin to populate this. This is our preview area. Now, really, depending when you're watching this, if you are a customer, this may look very different to you. Just really depends when you're watching this video. All right, so we have cards. Now, a card also has the ability to be clicked, okay? So we can actually send them off to wherever we want, okay, at that point. All right, so if anybody clicks on this particular card when it's delivered to their messenger, it will then open a new window and take them to the URL that you have specified. All right. The next thing we have are galleries. Now, galleries you can almost think of as a collection of cards, right? You can have up to 11 different slides, and I'm sure you've seen these before. These are what people refer to as galleries or carousels. So you have the ability to add, up to 11 of these slides per gallery. Now, on each of the slides, you are given a title, a subtitle that you can enter. You can also have the URL, okay? So you can actually have them, if they click this particular slide, it will take them off to whatever URL you've entered here. Now, each slide can have its own URL, okay? So each slide that you put in here can be sent off to whichever URL you would like. And of course, we can also do some personalization here as well within the titles and the subtitles, okay? So once we add an image, I'll just go ahead and pick one here. We'll go ahead and upload. Okay, and now we can go over here to our next image. And as you'll see, it's starting to populate over here. And you can actually control these. Once we start to fill it in, you'll begin to see them. Now you can also add up to 3 buttons. You can attach 3 buttons per slide. Okay, so we have button 1, and we'll just go ahead and save that. And then if we go to our next slide, you'll notice that button does not carry over. They can have their own individual buttons. So each of your 11 slides can have up to 3 buttons on them. That is 33 different places you can lead or different actions you can take within a gallery element. So a very powerful element with these. Now we also have something similar, which is the list. Now the list is where the carousel is more of a horizontal kind of scroll. The list is just vertical. As you see, if we were to populate everything, it would start to populate in here as well. Of course, we can attach a button to each of our list items as well. And you can actually put a button for the overall list itself, okay? So if we have something specific in this first item, we can attach a button that can lead users to wherever you'd like them to go. The second can also have its own button and lead the user wherever you'd like them to go, depending on what kind of content you're using for each of your list items, all right? So another powerful tool with that you can have loads of different actions happening on. Now next we have our video, and that is exactly what it is. We go ahead and select a video, and go ahead and put it in there, and that video will be delivered. You can also attach a button to the video element as well, okay? Now, when you're doing videos with SegMate, you will upload it the first time, and you'll only have to upload it once. As you notice when I click on it, these are some of the ones I've tested with and thrown up here. So they're available to you. You don't have to re-upload it every single time. You can reuse that particular asset. Okay. Now, our next one we have are what we call files. And this is for providing maybe a nice download for a PDF, a PowerPoint. There's certain formats that we allow. So you can, it's a very great way to deliver any kind of maybe a free bonus or a free ebook or something like that you wanted to provide to your users right through Messenger. You can simply attach those here and include that into your bot. All right. And the same also goes for audio. Okay, so you can attach just a straight up MP3 or WAV file and have audio go to them as well if there's some sort of an audio message that you would like to relay to your customers. All right. So those are all the different elements that we have at this point. Now, let's talk a little bit about buttons and quick replies. And I'm just going to use this text area here as an example. So when I add a button, you're going to see that there are there's different settings here. So I'm just going to simply hit next on this one. And what we can have happen is when the user presses this button, we can have 3 different things happen. We can reply with a message. We can open a website. Okay, we would simply enter our URL here. It will open that website. We can also have it call a phone number. So what will happen is when you enter your phone number here, it will then prompt and open the default phone application, whatever your user is using, and go ahead and dial that number. Okay. So for this test here, I'm just going to show you a little bit with create new message. But before we move on to that, we also have some additional actions that you can apply to every button that you put in. Okay. Now, we have the ability of tagging, okay? So you can add tags so that when a user clicks this button, this tag will be added to their subscriber record within SegMate, and I'll show you that here in just a bit. We can also remove a tag upon click. We can subscribe them to one of our sequences, which again, I'll show you here shortly. You can unsubscribe them from a sequence. We can add them to a segment of users, which I will again show you here in just a bit. We can remove them from a segment. We can subscribe them or we can unsubscribe them. Those are the different actions that you can apply to any of your buttons. Okay, now you can apply multiple things to one button. I could add a tag and also subscribe them to a particular sequence if I wanted to. Okay, so when I do that, you'll notice that I have one sequence here that's active. I could go ahead and subscribe them and get them started within that automated sequence. And if I could also then add a tag. I could add a new one if it doesn't exist yet, or I can use an existing tag as well. And you can, so like I say, you can apply as many as you'd like. And of course, we can remove any of those if that's what we want to do. So these, you can apply all of these actions to every button you have. Now for this one here, I have reply with a message. So when the user clicks this button, the way I have it set right now is they're going to be subscribed to a sequence, and then they're going to be sent the next part of my message. Okay, and if you'll notice here, it's starting to create a little bit of a breadcrumb trail. So in here, I'm just going to put next message. Now in this part here, we can of course put whatever elements we want to. Really just depends on how the how your bot flow is going to go. And we're going to jump into an actual bot that we've done, and I'm going to show you kind of the way we've done it and had great success with it. All right, so if you'll notice now, I can click on here. So it's going to take me back and forth within this conversation. And of course, our preview will update with it as well. Now, if I want to edit anything on that button, I can go ahead and do so or just remove it. And if I want to go deeper into the conversation, you'll see this little icon, you just simply click it, and there's that next message, right? So what we can do here is, let's go ahead and talk about quick replies. Now, the difference between a button and a quick reply is this. Buttons are essentially attached to one of these elements and will always be there. They will always be on the message that is sent. A quick reply is not attached to any particular element, but instead attached to this particular message segment. So with a quick reply, and its name implies what it should be, quick, right? So it's kind of a yes/no thing. And what we can do is add our additional actions, of course, to any of these quick replies. But with a quick reply, the only option you're going to get is to create a new message, meaning you're going to move them further along into your conversation. So I'm going to create that message and say, quick reply, yes. Okay, so we know that that's where it is. So now when I go back through my breadcrumb trail, you'll notice it's showing you basically the conversation and how that conversation is going to happen back and forth between your bot and your user. So I hop back here. There's my quick reply. I hop back to the beginning, and now I'm at the beginning of my flow. So I can keep going back and forth until I'm happy with the way I want my flow to go. All right. So that's kind of the overview of the different types of elements that you can use. So let's do this. Let's go ahead and show you a real life example of that, and I'm going to show you this one right here. Now, what I have is, this was for a webinar we did back in October. So what I've done is I just created a nice text area here with a button attached to it saying that I'm in, meaning I'm in and they've registered for the webinar. Now, what I've done is I've attached a tag to that particular button so that I can track what my users are doing as they're clicking. Okay, so if they click here, they're going to be taken to the second part of this message, which is a nice video from one of our founders, a text message about that I want to learn more about their business. So now I'm asking them what type of business they're in. And I'm going to tag them with that business tag, right? So that as they go through my bot, I'm going to start to collect more and more information about them, right? So if they click this, I take them to the next part of my message, which is a final video from us and thanking them. And we're going to go ahead and complete that registration. All right, so just to make sure that they've completed the registration, I tag them with a complete beta registration tag, and I take them right off to the registration page if they have not finished and completed that process so far. Okay, so this is just one example of one of the bots that we've used and had great success with. As you can see, we've had on this particular one 94% open rate and a 65% click-through rate. So fantastic results. So this is a bit about our bot builder. Again, we have tutorials that go much deeper into the features and ways to use the bot builder. So let's go ahead and just take a look at a couple of other features that we have. We have something we call Add Engage. What this is going to allow you to do is basically attach one of your conversations, one of your bots. Okay, it's going to attach it to any of your Facebook ads. So when your Messenger Facebook ad. So when somebody clicks that ad, what's going to happen is this bot is going to fire off and send to them. Okay, when they click, so that bot may contain, again, a free gift that you're giving them, may ask them more questions, whatever your end goal is for that particular ad. We can attach that bot to it and have it fired off and start that conversation. And what's going to happen is when anybody interacts with any of your bots, they click a button, they free type to you, they're going to be added as a subscriber inside of SegMate, okay? And now with our tagging, we're going to be able to kind of segment those users, and I'm going to show you that here in just a second. Our next feature is the post engage. Now what this is a commenter, okay? So when somebody comments on a particular Facebook post with a keyword that you've defined, it will go ahead and send off that bot to them, okay? Now you can do this for just your standard Facebook page posts, but you can also do it to any dark post, meaning any of your ads, okay? So when you're paying for ads, you can still have a bot launch off of a comment based on a particular keyword, okay? Now the next feature we have, and this is one of the first things you'll do when you get into SegMate, is set up your welcome message. And I'm going to show you a little bit what that looks like. Now, we have a nice little message that's presented to the user when they visit your page for the very first time. Okay, and we can also attach a bot to this, maybe which we call our welcome message. Now let me show you what that looks like inside of Facebook. Now when a user comes here and they want to send you a message, there's the message I just showed you saying, welcome to SegMate, Keith. It personalized it for me. And we'll go ahead and click the Get Started button to get started. All right, so that was the message that we saw right here. Now, when I click that Get Started, this bot is going to go ahead and launch. All right, so we'll go ahead and click Get Started. and you're going to see that we are going to have our bot launch. And there it is. It's the thank you for your interest in SegMate. And then I lead them through to get to my end goal, right? So whatever that end goal is, that's what we want to have happen here. It's a great way to get that first interaction going with your visitors, okay? Now, the next thing that we have here, and I'm just going to show you this as long as I'm here, is what's called a persistent menu. Okay, when I click this, you're allowed to have actual buttons inside of this little menu that are always going to be available to a user no matter how many times they visited or have spoken with you over Messenger. And you can set that inside of SegMate as well, called persistent menu. Now, we only have 2 right here, what we call parent menu items. You can have up to 3 parent menu items and then up to 5 what we call child items to those particular parents. So like here, I'll give you an example, and we'll just call this child 1. And it's basically a nested menu, okay? And there you'll see. So that would be nested now inside of that particular menu, okay? So you can have right here up to 15 different things on this menu. Think of it like a website navigation, right? And you have kind of multiple levels of that. You can also have that on your Facebook Messenger, okay? Now, next thing we have are what we call page level keywords. This is for basically when a user free types a specific keyword, we can have some things happen. Okay, we have some options here. So we would set our keyword, and that keyword either can be exact or we can have it just contained. So if a user types in something, as long as this keyword is contained, your action will happen. And those actions are, we can have a bot launch, we can start them into a sequence, we can remove them from a sequence, or we can have it notify the admin. And what that's going to do is basically send an email to your whatever email you've used to register for SegMate. It's going to go ahead and send that off to you. Support channels or help is usually the best way, kind of a keyword to use in that situation. But you can have as many of these keywords here as you would like, and they all work per page. Okay, so every page can have different keywords to it. Now, our sequences, we have 2 different types of sequences. One is our standard sequence, and if you're into email marketing at all, you should be very familiar with this. It works very much the same way as an autoresponder does when you do an automation inside of there. So if I go inside and edit this chatbot series, you're going to notice that as soon as that user is entered into this sequence, 1 hour after that occurs, I'm going to have this message be sent. Now, 2 days after that, I'm going to have this one be sent. 2 days after that, I'm going to have this one sent. So it works just like an email sequence, right? Except it's done through Messenger, okay? So we're doing this through bots. So you can have these set up as well, and as many different sequences as you'd like. Now, we also have what we call reminder sequences. And a reminder sequence is similar. We'll just do this as the demo here. Oops. But it leads up to an event date. A great example of this is a webinar. Okay, if you have a webinar set for 2 days from now and you want to send some sort of follow-ups to them to remind them that it's coming, you can actually set the dates for this thing to launch. Okay, so let's say we're going here on the 23rd. The first one I want to have sent on the 22nd. At whatever time whatever time you would like to choose, we can attach a bot to that. Okay, and have that bot sent. The next one I would like to have sent maybe on the at the 22nd, but I would like it to be maybe 4 or 5 hours later. So we go ahead and do that, and we can keep adding that, adding more and more segments onto here, leading up to that particular event date. Okay, so it's a little bit different than the standard sequence, where that just gets them into a sequence and sends them bots on a time basis. Where this kind of leads up to an actual event, an actual time. So there's like an ending to it. Okay. Now we also have our. Let's get into our subscribers. Okay. Now, your subscribers list is pretty full. There's a lot of things that we can do here. Number one is you can drill down as deep as you want into. Now, this is my test users. You'll see I'm tagged with tons of different tags, sequences, and segments that this particular subscriber belongs to. And you can manage all of that here by applying tags to them, removing tags. Same with sequences and segments as well as you can also unsubscribe them from here as well if you want to do that on an individual subscriber level. And we also have all of those exact same features here in bulk actions. So we can go ahead and select as many users as we want here and apply any of these actions to them as well. Okay. Now, what we can also do is do some filtering. So right now we have filters. You can filter by tags, by what sequences they're in or not in, the last interaction you had with somebody by a date, the last interaction within 24 hours, which is an important part of Facebook's rules. We kind of pride our app on following the policies that Facebook has set forth about bot messaging, and we have 3 or 4 different tutorials and videos that you can watch once you become a member that'll tell you all about that. You can also do the last time that you sent a message to it, or that you sent the actual message. We also have the segment. You can also do this by segment. Okay, so what we can do here is we'll go ahead and we'll filter by tags. Okay, so we go ahead and select tags. Now we have a couple of different options here. We can say is or is not. So we'll just say is tagged with this beta webinar tag. I'll go ahead and add that, and then you see it's going to sort through and find those particular subscribers that have this tag. Now we can do that multiple times, right? I can also say, I'd love to know the ones that are in e-com as well that attended this beta webinar. So I'll go ahead and do that, and it's going to go ahead and filter my choices down, okay? So we can build very powerful segments off of our subscribers so that we can send them content that they want, right? Something that is related to what their interests were. And we learn those interests by how they interact with your particular bots. So let's go ahead and create that segment right now. What I'll do is I'll select this entire segment of users, all 71 of them, and I'm going to create a segment. And I'm going to call this one here just demo ecom and save it. Okay, now at this point, I'm going to go ahead and hop over here to the segments, and there's my demo ecom. At this point, if you remember back in when I was showing you inside of the bot builder, you can actually have somebody, when they click a button, add them into a segment, right? So I've created this segment. So now anytime I'm sending any content that is in relation to maybe ecom, I'm going to go ahead and add them to this segment so that I can then continue to build this segment of users and then send actual content that they want to see about ecom business to that particular segment. So there's a lot of different ways that you can segment your business, okay, and your bots. Now what we can also do is we can go into these and we can add subscribers or remove them from a particular segment manually if we'd like, and it works pretty much the exact same way. You can do all the filtering, and what this will do, what this is showing me is everybody who is currently not in this segment, and then you can go ahead and add those by whatever filters that you wanted to apply to this particular segment of users. Okay, now where this also comes into play, and I'm going to hop back over here, is what we call our cast engage, which is a bit like a broadcaster, okay? So on a particular date, what I can do is go ahead and schedule a send at a particular time. And I can either send, so what we're talking about right here is, do we want to send this to everybody with a particular tag or everybody that is in a particular segment? Okay, so I could go ahead and choose segment. I could then go ahead and choose the one that I just created, and then go ahead and attach whatever bot I want to add to this particular conversation, and then go ahead and schedule that, and it will be sent to that group of subscribers. Okay, now the last thing that we're going to look at here is what we call subscriber tools, and we have 4 different tools at the moment. Okay, the first one is our checkbox tool. Okay, so there's a range of settings that we can do when we create these checkboxes, as you'll see here, and there's a little piece of code that we're going to go ahead and add to our website. We'll also keep track of all the subscribers that you've gained from each of the instances that you've created of the checkbox, and here's how we use it on our webinar right here. You'll see it right here, so that when the user clicks register now, they are actually sent off to a register page, as well as a bot. The bot I just showed you is also then sent to them at that time as well. Now we also have what are called m.me links. These are very versatile. They can be used in Facebook posts, on your blogs, in your e-com stores, wherever you want it to go. And basically what's going to happen is when a user clicks that, and I have just a demo page here with an m.me link attached to this particular button. So it's interested in learning more about chatbots, click below. And I'll send you 3 free lessons about chatbots. Be sure to check Facebook Messenger to access the lessons, right? So I'm going to go ahead and click that. And what's going to happen is it's going to take users right to their particular messenger, and it's going to go ahead and fire off that bot. That's what I had attached to this particular m.me link instance. Okay, so it's a great way to get them engaged. As soon as they start to engage, they will become a subscriber. Now, the next one that we have is also a send to Messenger. Send to Messenger is a little bit different. I'll show you that here on this page as well. I've put one below. Want to join a free weekly call? Simply click below to begin receiving reminders. So they go ahead and click this, and there's a couple of different actions that you can set to have that happen. You can have it do nothing after they click. You can redirect them to a URL, or you can open a little modal telling them, hey, be sure to check Facebook Messenger for our weekly reminders, or thanking them, or whatever type of message you would like to send in, put in that particular modal. Now, we're also gonna keep track of any subscribers that you've gained as well through that particular tool. And the last one we have is the customer chat. Now, our customer chat is here. I'll show you an example of that right now. Right here, right on our sales page. And you'll see there, that's the icon that it is. Now I could have this set so that it actually displays open if I would like to. And there's a few different settings that we can use within your customer chat. And this one here is we can have the color, the theme color. You can change it a bit so it matches more of your particular website's branding. We can have a greeting message that is seen. So when somebody comes to the page for the first time and they have not interacted with your customer chat, they're going to get a nice little message that you can customize. Click chat now to speak with us, whatever it might be. It'll show for logged in users. For non-logged in users, you can have a different message. Here's where we can set the to only show the minimized icon, or we can have it open if we choose. And we can also collect subscribers in this manner, but we also give the option not to collect subscribers. It really depends on how you're using the customer chat plugin. It just depends on your goal. Okay, so we have a bunch of different settings that we can do in here as well, and they're all great ways to get subscribers that you can then market to at a later time. Now, we also provide you with a dashboard that you can see a bunch of different metrics across your open rates, your subscribe rates, across different fan pages, across all of your fan pages. We give it to you in graphs. We have unique active conversations, the messages that were sent, reported conversations, blocked. Any upcoming broadcasts that you might have, your best performing bots, we're going to show you here as well, and your page reviews for the particular fan page that you have selected. We're going to go ahead and show you that as well. So that's a lot to take in. It seems overwhelming at first. The thing I love about our platform is that you don't have to use every single feature. You could get into SegMate and use one feature with great success. So don't be overwhelmed. Bot marketing is still new. It's up and coming. It's going to be very hot in 2018. I suggest getting started. We have a lot of great material out there to help you guys get started. And when you become a customer, we always keep you up to date with our feature changes down here, which is going to let you know any of the new features we've added, as well as our upcoming roadmap and what types of features you can expect to come over the next 12 months. So thanks so much for joining me, and we hope to see you on the inside.